Having followed the generational path of high school dropouts in his own family, Eric transitioned from being hopeless and homeless to being an iconic figure of the process of the success and the determination it takes to obtain it. He has committed his life to speaking across the country to enlighten others of the importance of education, the access it provides, and the way to the American dream. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome to Eric Thomas.
Come on, what better place? I mean, look at this environment. For those of you who've had a chance to read any books out there by Malcolm Gladwell, you know, one of his latest books, he talks about, in The Outliers, he talks about the importance of environment, right? The importance of environment. You know, it's funny, I tell some of the professors I work with at Michigan State, when they talk about some of our minority students and not really understanding what some of our minority students go through, you know, I have to explain to them that they come from different environments, right? And so when you come from a different environment, you don't have the same exposure that other people have. It makes a huge difference. I want to talk about this idea of success, right? And I get so excited about it because I didn't have the greatest start. You know, unfortunately, my mother got pregnant with me at 17 years old. She had me when she was a senior in high school. She had me out of wedlock because my grandmother had 14 other children at the time. My mother was kicked out of the house, and so she was homeless for a certain amount of time. But I'm just so excited about the fact that it's not how you start, but how you. I was so excited last year being a high school dropout, you know, being homeless, you know, and having an opportunity last year because of the American Dream, writing my first book. I was just so excited that it doesn't, even though there are no authors in my family, I'm one. Even though I was the first one to go to college, I got that 4-year degree. Took 12 years, but I got it. And then I'm excited today. I'm not talking to you, you know, a kid with a silver spoon in his mouth. You know, I'm not talking to you from a person who grew up in an affluent family, you know, who started from the top. And the reason why I start like that, because while there may be people who identify with that group, and that's not a problem, there are a lot of us in the room that don't. And I want to give you courage. I want you to know that you can start from the bottom, right? And if you just stick with it, you hang in there, some of the principles I'm going to talk about today, that you can literally get to the top. And now I am only a dissertation away from completing my PhD. My mom stood in the middle of the suite and she said, "Son, you made it. Son, you made it." Hold on. PhD, I want you to hold on. Author of my first book, I want you to hold on. It may not happen in the time that you think is going to happen, but I want you to know something. If you quit, it's never going to happen. If you quit, if you give up, if you stop, if you do not persevere, listen to me, you will never see it. And I tell people all the time, I didn't get here through academics. I got here because I refused to quit. Listen to me. I want you to know that information changes situations, and that's why we're in this room today. And I want you to know that I don't know each one of you individually, but I know a lot about you already. If you're up at 10 o'clock in the morning and you're in this place, you understand that information changes situations, right? That's important for me. Family is important. Why? Because my father wasn't in my life. His father wasn't in his life. And so when people ask me, Eric Thomas, what is your greatest accomplishment? They think I'm going to talk about how much money I make, the community that I live in, some of the places that I travel to. My greatest accomplishment is I've been married 21 years, and I have not in 21 years cheated on my wife. That's my greatest accomplishment. I was homeless. I was a high school dropout. I was living in abandoned buildings. I don't know anybody from the Midwest, but it gets cold in December. It's cold in January. It's cold in February. And an abandoned building is no place for a 16, a 17, or an 18-year-old. But what changed my life was somebody gave me vision. Somebody said to me in that state that, Eric Thomas, you have something great in you. You're going to be a minister. You're going to be a motivator. You're going to be a community activist. You can do it. Listen to me. This is not a seed. This is not a seed. If you get caught up, listen to it. I just want you to look, because I want you to see this. We're going to look at it together because we got to get this vision in our mind. If you look at this seed and you believe that this is a seed, then that's going to be your outcome. But if you realize that this is really not a seed, that it's a tree, and while you are in the beginning stages of whatever you're doing, you're not going to always be there, because the essence of who you are, the essence of what you're going to be, the essence of what you're going to accomplish is all in that seed. You're not to me. You need to get a real. And so my mother would call, her and my mother would have conversations. And so my mother would call, because she has influence with me as well. And she'd say, son, I know you're traveling and speaking. That's great, son. But you got a family now. And you need to get a real I thought somebody would just come to me. Somebody from the government would say, "You're doing a great job, Eric. Here's a grant." But guess what? It never what? It never happened. And in the beginning, I got discouraged. I wanted to give up. I wanted to quit. I wanted to stop pursuing my dreams and my goals. And somebody came to me and said, "Eric, you can do it, but you got the wrong information. You don't have the right information." And so I don't know what happened to me, but I started picking up books. The first book was Dr. Ben Carson, Gifted Hands. And that book changed my life, because as I read through Dr. Ben Carson's book, it wasn't just the fact that he became a neurosurgeon, but he was from Detroit. He walked the same streets I walked. When I read the book, I recognized stores, I recognized streets, I recognized names. And people ask me all the time, "Why did you wear a Detroit Tiger hat on the cover of your book?" So that every kid from the hood, from Detroit, that when he walked past and he saw this book, he would believe that that's somebody like me. There's somebody that came from my neighborhood, from my background, under my same circumstances, that made it happen. So I cannot have a victim's mentality. I have to have a victim's mentality. If Eric Thomas can do it, if Eric Thomas can go from being homeless, a high school dropout, not having his father in his life, anybody could do it. You say, what does that mean? Just a scenario. There's a car doing 50 miles per hour in Detroit, nighttime. And all of a sudden, and it stops and it's doing 10 and the windows start coming down. And it turns and comes your way. Well, if you're from Detroit, you kind of know what that means. That doesn't mean you walk up to the car and ask, "Can I give you, sir, you need directions." In that particular situation, that means that, we just like gazelles. Everybody runs and we ask later, "Why were we running?" But that's deductive reason. It means that I observe my surroundings. I observe my community. I observe what's going on in my environment, and I make decisions. I said, what's wrong with my outfit? He said, "Well, you're coming to class and you got like these Black Panther Party paraphernalia that you're wearing." He's like, and I'm not against that at all. Trust me, I'm not against that. But that's like with Malcolm X with a gun, Eric. That's a little intimidating to the teacher here. Deep. Genius. All right, I've got to calm down. Even in this room right now, I just wanted to run up and down. I was just so excited when I got in here for this opportunity, right? But every single day when I come, I show up and I let failure know. Failure is not an option. So what? It takes 12 years to get it forward. Failure is not an option. So what? I put myself in a PhD program when I know that to be a great person in a PhD program, you have to read well, you have to write well, which are my two greatest weaknesses. But failure is not an option. All right. If I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 things that do not work. Right? And who wrote that? Yeah. Thomas said, come on. So we're not going to fail. Number one, we're not going to fail. We're not going to give up. We talked about this earlier. Everybody can see. Everybody has sight, but very few people have vision. Right? Very few people have vision. I need you to get vision. We talked about that. I have a vision for 2012. The vision is written down. It's on paper. I see the vision every day. When I wake up, I'm pursuing that vision. What's the vision, Eric Thomas? I see myself every day. I spend 5 minutes watching myself put on that robe and accepting the PhD. Every day I wake up 5 minutes. Listen to me. Whatever your dream is, whatever your goal is, you're not going to be able to make it happen if you don't have a dream party every day. Like, you've got to have a dream session. You've got to take out 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, however much time you have, and you've got to actually go in a room, close the door, and you've got to see yourself doing it. You've got to feel yourself doing it. You've got to actually walk in it. You've got to go in the future, live it out, come back in the present, and start working toward it. It's done. Every single day, we're not waiting for it to happen. We just don't have sight. Sight is for people who live in the present. We have vision. We're going to make it happen before it happens. And then one day it hit me. If you have the story in your head, if you have a MacBook Pro, right? If you have time, what is it that you're not doing? And when I looked at my life and I wrote everything down, and I wrote down why I wasn't successful. And I don't know if you're like me, but you go to the bookstore and you buy a book and you're excited about the book, but when you know you're supposed to be an author, you're kind of looking around like, my book should be in stores. So I wake up every morning at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's the advantage that I have. You can't tell me when to wake up. Like, I don't care who you are, or you're not with me in the morning, so I can get up whenever I want to, and I can start on my dreams whenever I want to start on my dreams. And every day, 3:30, I wake up and I start on my dreams. And there was a white male there named Willie, and he was talking. He was saying, he was bragging to the players and saying, and to the coaches that, he said, look, guys, every time I do a conference, I'm always the first one there. Nobody ever beats me, except this morning, Eric Thomas. Like, you're not even saying it like you believe in work. Like, you're not even really saying it like you're passionate about work. You're like, working. I'm hoping that I can just wishing. And I can climb up in this company with wishing. The only reason you can't is because the people who founded this company didn't do it by wishing. I just got dressed. I got my camera and I started going downstairs. And as soon as I got to the bottom, one of the coaches said, oh, that's the truth. You're the guy from the video. We play your stuff every single day to our team in practice. We would love to have you on campus. Do you have a car? I say, I most certainly do. So what? What is it? Positioning versus what? Come on, positioning versus... And they're looking like, why is this guy the keynote? Why is he in this breakout session taking notes? Because I want to position myself for greatness. I don't know everything. I have not accomplished everything. I'm not where I want to be. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still trying to get better. You've got to position yourself and stop pouting. Stop crying. Stop looking at what other people are getting and look at what they're doing. And if you start doing it, you'll start getting it. You don't get out of life what you want. You get out of life what you earn. So I'm teaching when you're here what it's going to be like out there. You got to earn it. So do me a favor. Position yourself. Stop pouting. Stop pouting. We got 10 minutes. Listen to me. Change versus chatter. Change versus chatter. And I didn't say it's not fair. It's not fair. I'm the only minority in here. They should be making changes. They should try to accommodate me. That's not what I said. I didn't say it's not fair. They don't appreciate my writing style. I've been writing like this for 20 years. Why can't they appreciate it? I said I got to make some changes. Listen to me. You got to stop talking. Don't you hate this? I remember when I worked at Michigan State University, we used to have meetings every week. I don't know why we kept having meetings. We'd have like 3-hour meetings and we never got anything done. We kept meeting. But we never changed. Students still weren't graduating. The retention rate still wasn't any better in the department. But we met every week for 3 and 4 hours. We talked about the same thing over and over and over and over with no results, no changing results. And so I need you to do me a favor. This year, if you listen to me, you can have it, you can do it, you can be it, but some changes have to take place. All right, we talked about this earn versus, come on, earn versus, we can have whatever we earn, but we can't always get whatever we're willing to earn, we can get it. Listen to me. How do you stop a man? How do you stop a woman who knows what they want? And so before you leave this world, one of the things I need you to do for me is I need you to know that's how my life changed. I knew, listen to me, people say, Eric, what do you want? I couldn't tell you at 21 what I wanted, but I knew what I didn't want. I didn't want the life that I grew up with. I didn't want not to be in my children's life. I did not want to be in poverty. There are some things that I didn't want. I didn't want to be limited. There are certain things I didn't want. And so I made up in my mind that I had to make some changes and I had to have some desire. And so got it. And the young man said, you crazy. What do you mean you got it? You almost killed me. You almost drowned me. What do you mean I got it? He said, you understand now the first principle to success. When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful, son. When you want it that bad, when you can't get enough sleep, you wake up early in the morning, son, when everything else is secondary to you, when every other sacrifice you're willing to make, you're going to be successful. But until you do that, until you want it as bad as you want to breathe, you'll never have it. And I'm here to tell you in this room today, by experience, starting from the bottom with nothing,
I am the nothing one. I am the nothing one. We are the nothing ones. It is hard to be me, living under the skin condition. My upbringing was rooted and embedded by uninformed myths escalating within the societal beliefs, doing as they please and wish forgetting that I'm a human being. I got dissed and teased, which really dismantled my self-esteem, and ever since I've never had peace. Put yourself in my shoes and wonder how they've coped being called a thing you see. Rich kids believed I was a product of a witch, having to live and mingle with something they've never seen. Do you blame them? Well, I don't. Even old people still believe the very same thing. You find mothers in the streets turning around and say cysts and spits on their chests, avoiding to give birth to white kids. It is painful. It is painful to see more and more people living with albinism being treated like trash, as if you don't belong to the Mother Earth. But I, like a struggle soldier, tie my boots so tight because the journey has not started yet. I will fight them till the end because I don't mind being in a prison cell if that's the price I've got to pay for my self-worth. When I value myself because I was not far-fetched, my mother gave birth. Should I blame death or birth? Well, I blame the educational system for failing to teach the kids about albinism. They left the matter unattended and neglected, watering the seeds of racism and the roots of prejudice. Mentally, I'm schizophrenic, heart-torn and so lost as I wrote this. My lips and eyes are dry, craving for peace within communities because they say united we stand, divided we fall. But how do I unite knowing that somewhere in Tanzania I've got a price tag? I raise my fist for young and old heroes and heroines slaughtered for ancestral works. They never cared about their dreams, ambitions and determinations. The government turned a blind eye, providing their families with black body bags, but I carry the burden on my back, calling upon for societal help to help reduce more suicidal cases because they preach social inclusivity. They preach social inclusivity within their communities, proving the fact that I'm not integrated within their society, define the word albino as an animal in their dictionaries, placing a permanent mindset about my sense of being in the minds of intellectuals, individuals and dignitaries. And what's left is for all the secretaries to note down the word and deliver it to their higher authorities, because life is hard, matters of the heart, praying for cageless lives. I've been working hard. Life is hard, matters of the heart, praying for cageless lives. Now I've been working hard. I am the nothing one. We remain the nothing ones.
Once more, I thank you most sincerely for affording me the opportunity to serve you and to serve the people of Africa. Thank you, ngiyathokoza, ngiyaleboga, ndoleboa, ndiyabulela. Nzakhensa, bayadanki, ngiyabonga.